Hey, what's up, guys? It's Renaldo here. So, this video is going to focus on the DA's ultimatum press conference, in which eventually the ultimatum came and went, and the DA did nothing. The only thing the DA did was to say that they are not going to attend the national dialogue, which is a slap in the face of citizens of this country because, firstly, the national dialogue is going to cost this country 700 million rand. So the DA was going to attend this and support it, even though it cost the country 700 million rand. But now the reason that they're not attending it is because they're upset because one of their former deputy ministers were removed. I mean, that doesn't even make sense. So a lot of people expected the DA to remove themselves from the GNU. Clearly, that didn't happen. I think we've reached the point now where we can very confidently say that the DA needs the GNU more than what the GNU needs the DA. And the reason for that is because the ANC has just continued to do whatever they've been doing. And if you look at the successes of the GNU over the last year, nothing. In actual fact, there is one thing. The only thing that has improved under the GNU is that you can get your passport faster to leave the country. That is what has improved. Unemployment has risen, crime has risen, corruption has risen. So therefore, there's not really anything that you can look at and say, wow, well, thank you to the GNU for forming this because the country is better. It simply isn't. Then, of course, you would think, okay, well, so the DA in this press conference said that they're not leaving the GNU, they're remaining in the GNU. So just another line in the sand that has been crossed. And then what is it eventually going to take for the DA to leave the GNUs? They've never looked weaker than what they look right now. Nobody forced them to call a press conference. Nobody forced them to call for an ultimatum. And everybody knew the ANC was not going to blink. And now they look like absolute fools because it's something that they've created themselves, and now they are the ones that are looking weak because of it. And then you thought, okay, perhaps the DA can save some face by bringing a motion of no confidence against Cyril Ramaphosa. Well, in the press conference, they said they're not going to do that yet. So now there's another ultimatum. So the first ultimatum was just for show. Trust us, this ultimatum is going to be the real one. So if Cyril Ramaphosa does not fire those ministers, then we're going to put a motion of no confidence against Cyril Ramaphosa. They were at least clever this time because they didn't give a deadline. So, this could be anything in the next 3 or 4 years, hopefully. Otherwise, the DA will just continue to be in the GNU. It is just absolute absurdity. I don't know what more to tell you. If you still believe that I'm a bitter ex, more power to you. Because I wish I was that ignorant. I wish I was as ignorant as the people that are saying, oh no, the DA's got a master plan. No, the DA once again just illustrated that they don't, and they don't even have power in the GNU. And, the thing that really gets to me is the fact that there's just another DA individual that was thrown along the wayside. Because Andrew Whitfield would have had to ask for permission from the federal executive, from John Steenhuisen, and from his chief whip as to whether or not he could go on this trip. And they should have said they should have said no, but what they ended up doing was saying yes. And then Andrew Whitfield applied 10 days before the trip to Cyril Ramaphosa by notifying him, which goes against the guidelines in the handbook because you have to apply 14 days. Go and read it if you don't believe me. The cabinet guidelines for ministers and deputy ministers is that you should apply 14 days before. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, why didn't Cyril Ramaphosa respond within those 10 days? Well, firstly, it's because he didn't need to, because the correct procedures weren't followed by Andrew Whitfield and the DA. Secondly, it's a typical ANC tactic. Why would they respond when they can just leave the door open and let Andrew Whitfield go against the rules of the ministerial handbook, and then they could use him as a scapegoat to fire him, and that's exactly what they did. And the DA is not even going to fight for Andrew Whitfield. They've already said in that press statement, or in the press conference, that they found a replacement. So, Andrew Whitfield, sorry, we told you that you could go, but we messed up, but now you are the one that is now just a normal member of parliament. You're not a deputy minister anymore. It's our fault, but hey, sorry. And it's just like, how many more people are they going to leave along the wayside for this chase to be part of the GNU that ultimately doesn't do any favors for the DA? So this press conference, an absolute waste of time. But more than that, it makes the DA look weak. And this is the weakest I've ever seen the Democratic Alliance. It is embarrassing. It truly is. And the reasoning and the questions that they refused to answer. I mean, there were some brilliant questions for once by mainstream media. They didn't say who was the one that approved the trip for Andrew Whitfield. They conveniently left that out. And also they couldn't answer the question as to who's replacing Andrew Whitfield. So what was the point of this press conference? And then, of course, the thing that I think just a lot of people were caught off guard by is how they constantly referenced, it's almost time for the rugby. We're not going to let this go on. We want to go to the rugby. So they called the press conference that has got to do with a very serious issue that they proclaimed is very important, but apparently it's not as important as the rugby. All in all, I don't know who's advising the DA. I would fire that person immediately. The federal executive is toothless and useless, because the federal executive is what drives the DA. And I really hope that there are some brave souls in the DA that is going to start asking difficult questions of the federal executive, because they are ultimately the ones that allowed the ultimatum to happen, that allowed Andrew Whitfield's trip to happen, and that allowed this press conference to happen. That has been an abysmal failure. And like I said, it has made the DA look desperate, toothless, and weak. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to smash that like button. Please be sure to subscribe. Please be sure to share this video far and wide, because this is a lot easier to digest than an hour and 40-minute press conference that pretty much said nothing. Lastly, if you support me and my content, then please consider becoming a member. You can do so by clicking the join button below. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Till later, cheers and peace out.
You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say I wear my massacre. My massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say I wear my massacre. My massacre.